Hey there, everybody. Robert Taylor with Wonderscape Creations. Quickly going over one more thing with the attributes, as promised. Um, for those of you who want to use external attribute sets, because you may be in the middle of a project or using another plugin that has its own, is irrelevant to me. But if you're wanting to have access to those things, there are some things that you need to do. As if you recall, if we come in here and I just temporarily create a definition and open it up, if we use an external set, a lot of things become unusable until we go ahead and do this work right here. And once you check that, then you gain access to all of that. Now I've gone ahead and let me find my documentation here. I have here in my documentation adding external attribute sets, and there's quick instructions and then more detailed instructions on what you need to do. So the first thing you need to make sure that you do is this line right here needs to be added to the correct build.cs file. This is a C# file, and it's necessary to be added in the correct place. For Ascent Combat Framework Ultimate, then you would go to the plugin and you would look for the file. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So we go into plugins, we look at my plugin, and we come into source, gas ally. You'll see right here, Wonderscape Creations, gasally.build.cs. You'll need to find where the plugin has its attribute sets. Because if we come in here and I go to public and I go to attributes, you'll see right here, this is all my attribute stuff, and the attribute pool is my attribute set. So I know this is the correct .build.cs file. Now, if you're in your own project, so you're building everything in the project, not in a plugin, then instead of going to plugins, you would come in here directly into source, and then the plugin here, and here's the build.cs file. Either way, you would open one up. I will go ahead and just open it up in Writer, and you would add it, make sure that there's a comma, and then add the next thing. I believe the instructions do say to put it in the public. Yes. So up here in the public, you would just hit comma, enter, Wonderscape Creations, Gas Ally. That's all you would need to do in the .cs file. Go ahead and close that. The next thing you would need to do is find the header file. For those that don't know, for C++, classes are separated into two files: a header file where we declare everything, and a C++ file where everything is implemented. It's an extra step, but keeps things a lot cleaner. So you need to jump into your header file. And if we look here at the instructions, I'm going to go ahead and move this stuff here, move this out of the way for a moment. If you look in the instructions, it says that we need to add and include the attributes, comma, not comma, / wc gas attribute pool helper .h. Now, if we come back in here, you'll see that I actually don't have that in here. So you don't have to add that line in here if you don't want to. It says to do it. I do know that I have it in here. Right here. So I know it's in the C++ file. Anyways, you want to definitely make sure in your pool, in your .h file for your attribute set, you scroll down and you make sure that you have the pre-attribute change virtual function called right, not called, declared right here, and the virtual void post gameplay effect execute function. You need these two lines. These are identical for your attribute set and for my attribute set. If they are already in your header file, you don't need to re-add them. Come here into the C++ file, and if they were already declared, that means that somewhere they've been implemented. So if we just copy this, search for it, here we are. All you need to do, if it's already implemented, is add this line right here. Post gameplay effect execute needs the handle post gameplay effect execute from the pool helper. So that line. If it's not already implemented because you had to declare it yourself, make sure you create this whole thing. Obviously, this portion right here will be named after your attribute set. This is named after mine. So don't break things. And what I mean by that, if we come up here, every single one of them, the functions, start off with the name right here, WC gas attribute pool. That's how that works. Now then, if we come back over here to the pre-attribute change, copy, find this one. Here's the pre-attribute. If it was already called and declared, declared and implemented, you just need to add this part right here. If not, do the whole thing right here. And of course, like I said, make sure at the very top you have this include here in the .cpp. It's not needed in the header because we're not using it in the header, but for some reason my instructions have that there, so I'm probably going to remove that after this video. But other than that, one second. Didn't want to cough in your guys' ears. Trying to get better at that. Other than that, that's everything you need to add. Now with Ascent Combat Framework and its ultimate counterpart, he has like 3 or 4 different attribute sets, so you would need to do this a few times. Not the build.cs part, but finding the header and the CPP files and adding those in there as necessary. But once you've done that, obviously go ahead and stop your project and then compile and save and build it. Everything will work automatically with 0 issues. I tested it myself with Ascent Combat Framework Ultimate. I had considered showing you guys how to do it live that way, but I didn't want to go through the implementation or the possibility of having to deal with anything legal-wise because I'm showing off somebody else's code. So I apologize for not being able to go more in depth, but I hope that my documentation and this video helps get you where you need to go. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.